Now, this is the story that has me fired up tonight. At this hour, President Obama is in Tucson, Arizona. 2 hours from now, he's scheduled to address the nation at a memorial service for the victims of the shooting rampage. This should be a day to set politics aside and focus on the victims. But it all changed this morning when Sarah Palin finally broke her silence. Palin blasted out a rambling 8-minute video, which did very little to address the victims. She spent most of her time attacking the media.
Days reflecting on what happened and praying for guidance. After the shocking tragedy, I listened at first puzzled, then with concern, and now with sadness to the irresponsible statements from people attempting to apportion blame for this terrible event.
Palin is sad about irresponsible statements. You got to be kidding me, folks. She's the queen of irresponsible statements, which even now she refuses to own up to.
It's not a time to retreat. It's a time to reload.
We're not going to back off on our criticism of the problems of the health care bill, and one aspect of it is the death panel.
Our opponent is someone who sees America as imperfect enough to pal around with terrorists.
Instead of showing any leadership or taking any responsibility for her ugly rhetoric or talking about the real victims, Palin used this opportunity this time to play the victim.
No one should be deterred from speaking up and speaking out in peaceful dissent. And we certainly must not be deterred by those who embrace evil and call it good. And we will not be stopped from celebrating the greatness of our country and our foundational freedoms by those who mock its greatness by being intolerant of differing opinion and seeking to muzzle dissent with shrill cries of imagined insults.
Listen, nobody thinks the shooter was following Sarah Palin's orders. I've said that all week, but it's a fact. Palin put crosshairs on Gabby Giffords' district. That's a fact. It's also a fact that Giffords wasn't imagining an insult when she criticized Palin for those crosshairs. Palin was flat out grandstanding with this video today. Political grandstanding. Today, when there's a memorial service, she doesn't have the character to say that she regrets anything. Her game plan all along has been very simple. No apology, no toning it down, just attack.
Especially within hours of a tragedy unfolding. Journalists and pundits should not manufacture a blood libel that serves only to incite hatred and violence that they purport to condemn. That is reprehensible.
Well, the words blood libel set off a firestorm of controversy. Blood libel is a historical myth, a lie that claimed Jews kidnapped Christian children to use their blood during Passover ceremonies. Simon Greer, the president of the Jewish Funds for Justice, said this today: "We are deeply disturbed by Fox News commentator Sarah Palin's decision to characterize as a blood libel the criticism directed at her following the terrorist attack in Tucson. Unless someone has been accusing Ms. Palin of killing Christian babies and making matzah from their blood, her use of the term is totally out of line." Well, once again, Palin is proving to be nothing more than an unguided missile in the political arena. Many people think she's used the term blood libel as an appeal to an extremist Christian conservative base for 2012. 14,000 people are scheduled to attend the memorial service in Tucson tonight. President Obama is expected to ask Americans to come together to honor the heroes and the fallen. Sarah Palin had to make it about her. I think that is A1 reprehensible. Get your cell phones out, folks. I want to know what you think tonight on this issue. Tonight's text survey question is, do you think Sarah Palin should apologize for her violent rhetoric? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. Joining me now is Illinois Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. Congresswoman, good to have you on tonight on this issue. This has been a very tough day at the Capitol. There's been a great deal of emotion shown by Mr. Boehner, also Nancy Pelosi, and all of you in Congress because of what has happened. Now, this release by Sarah Palin today, how would you characterize it?
Well, you can't imagine how out of step it is with the tone that's being set here in the Congress right now. People going to the floor, both sides of the aisle, and lamenting the loss of life, praying for the victims and especially for Gabby Giffords, talking about our staff that also put themselves in danger. There's a sense of oneness that was also reflected in a wonderful emotional service that we had that ended with a prayer, a benediction by David Saperstein, a rabbi, where we all held hands, and Republicans and Democrats stood together holding hands. And then there's Sarah Palin making it about herself, about feeling defensive, and then accusing people of trying to muzzle her and somehow ruining our democracy by doing so. It was so out of place, such a sour note in the midst of an effort here to really come together.
What are your thoughts, Congresswoman, of her using the term blood libel?
Well, certainly as a Jew, and the Jewish community, the organized community, has spoken out. This is one of the oldest ways to talk about Jews as killing Christian children in order to use their blood to make matzah.
Why do you think she did it? Why do you think she did it?
Frankly, I think she didn't know what she was saying. That's the most charitable thing I can say, is that she had no idea what it really means. But does that mean that we're going to get an apology from her? I doubt it. But you know, it was a fell out of her mouth, or actually I think it was a very planned speech that she made, but she clearly didn't know that blood libel, it's something that goes back to the 12th century, was certainly used during World War II by the Hitler regime to demonize Jews. It was...
well, let's just say that she does know what's it mean. And maybe she got some help on the speech from somebody who knows exactly what blood libel means. What kind of light does that shed on this?
Well, then I guess what she would be saying, once again, is that she's a victim of some kind of a vicious assault, the most vicious assaults, raising the specter of the Holocaust and this kind of prejudice. That would be really a terrible thing for her to have done.
Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, thanks for joining us tonight. I appreciate your time on this program.
Thank you, Ed.